Kick that.
Kick it.
Yeah.
So, what are we even calling this?
What did we call it the first time? I think it's like, Give Me the Keyboards.
Presents a movie thing. I'm Bingo Gas Station.
Is that how we started?
I don't know.
We're gonna. Hold on, we're not started yet. Welcome to Give Me the Keyboard presents
Your last.
Bingo and Dutch talking about Final Destination.
Yeah, I was going to give it a clever name, like
Oh, go ahead.
last place that you wanted to go.
What does that
Destination. I don't know. I was trying to do a synonym for destination. Like Final Destination, but like a play on words, so to speak. Like, this is Give Me Your Keyboard presents horror film franchise classic something.
I don't know. You keep working on it. I don't know. I don't really know where you're going with it. I understand you're trying to do a play on words, but
It doesn't matter.
I don't know how that could fit.
So this originated with me realizing I've never seen any, not one, not even parts of one, of the Final Destination films, and seeing that they were sold at a discount in their entirety, and so it seemed like a bargain. Yeah. Well, I mean, Dutch and I have sat through other franchises from start to finish.
Leprechaun.
We sat through Leprechaun several years ago, and it was, I think, one of the most grueling experiences of my life.
Yeah, which I mean, I have a high tolerance.
Which is why we took a decade off.
I did not mind watching the Leprechaun marathon at all because I really enjoyed Leprechaun in Space.
Oh.
Leprechaun in Space is probably my favorite one.
That wasn't the worst one.
Well, I mean, to me, it's the best one. And I thought that Leprechaun in the Hood or whatever
Back
it
to
was,
the Hood
wasn't even that bad. I think the last one was pretty bad. I think maybe that's why they just gave it up. It was because the last one was pretty bad.
We haven't even seen the reboot of that, and I hope we never do.
Yeah, I have not. I think I watched like the first 10 minutes because I just bought a new TV and I wanted to test it on something, and it looked pretty bad. It looked pretty bad, but I was just trying to compare the picture quality, and it looked pretty bad, so I turned it off.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go on record because Bingo didn't know this, that I keep it to myself. I kind of feel like Final Destination is a guilty pleasure of mine that I don't really talk about. I came to the realization that Final Destination, the series, is actually one of my favorite horror / Halloween series like of all time. I really enjoy the Final Destination series.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Dutch. I am an aficionado of horror, and I hadn't seen a single one. And I do like some of the cult classics, some of the lesser ones, and of other franchises. I mean, I think my favorite Leprechaun was maybe 2 or 3, maybe 3. I don't know.
Well, I was just saying that.
Then I like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I like shit like that.
No, that's good.
But then I like a lot of other creepy shit that doesn't really fall in. And I enjoyed the Saw films, even though they got progressively more convoluted and less plausible.
Yeah, and I always felt like this is a guilty pleasure of mine because I usually kept it to myself because Final Destination is not a classic. Final Destination is not. I don't think it is. And I don't think that, like, people think of it, like, if it's like, oh, let's put in a horror movie or a Halloween movie, you don't think of Final Destination. And I know that it can get kind of corny and it can get kind of stupid, but I love the premise, and I thought that the first one was actually really well done, and their deaths were pretty fun.
Well, you know what? When we have a moment, I'd like to look at maybe the box office comparison, because I was under the assumption that it kept making money, just like Saw, it kept making money to a point, and now it's Paranormal Activity, which...
Well, yeah. Well, Paranormal Activity keeps going because they're incredibly cheap to make. Final Destination, I don't know. I never looked into the numbers. That's why I brought it up. Screen Junkies, they did their rundown of the best horror franchise. And Final Destination was number 11 in highest grossing based on a series that had at least 3 films in it. So, I mean, it wasn't even that high.
Was it adjusted for inflation?
I do not believe so.
Well, that's bullshit. Why would you not adjust?
Well, Friday the 13th was still number 1. So, I mean, even
whatever.
if it
But
wasn't inflation.
adjusted for inflation, I think, Paranormal Activity will probably win. Because it makes a shit ton of money, and even if you adjust for inflation, I think there's more people watching movies now than there were. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd be curious to see that, but if you're not adjusting for inflation, then any sort of comparison is just complete bullshit.
Another thing, I don't remember what video I had seen, but I've never watched this movie. It was called No Way Out. I watched a review of it, and they said, like, it's not really that good, it's not bad, it's just something you just put on just because, you're bored or whatever, and then you never remember it later on. But they came out with a No Way Out 6, like, this year or last year. And it, like, blew my mind, and I assume that the general public, they don't know that there's 6 of them out there. Like, let alone a sequel to that movie.
The first one.
So, I mean, the Final Destination, like, I know that they got theatrical releases, and I'm not surprised that they had it. I wouldn't even be surprised if they made money on all of them. But just in my mind, I didn't think that the series was that popular, and I didn't think that a lot of people thought that they were really good. But to me, they're a lot of fun to watch, and that's it.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that drew me to the idea of watching them all was I've heard it referenced a lot, and I've always thought that the premise is kind of interesting, the idea of death, and I think the first film probably was intended as a standalone. It bookends fairly nicely, and it's one of those that is sort of probably stronger in principle than it is in practice, because the idea is that they cheat death. How much can you run with that? You have to build up a mythology around it, maybe. So, and in the first film, they definitely do a little bit. But I have been interested in. I think some of my. So this is where I get really geeky. White Wolf Publishing created Geist, the Sin Eaters, and they mentioned it as a reference for inspiration for your game. And I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I've read a lot of or watched a lot of things that they've recommended that would inspire you to do stuff. So I thought it was good.
I just wanted to go on record that
you keep wanting to go on record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Final Destination came out.
Record.
Final Destination did come out before Saw.
Yes.
And you're saying that, like, the idea behind it for Final Destination was that it was supposed to be a standalone film, which I agree with.
Well, I think it was. I don't know for sure, but it appears to be that they probably hadn't anticipated a sequel.
Yeah.
Same with Saw. Saw didn't anticipate a sequel.
I know, and that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like Final Destination and Saw had the same appeal. Like, Final Destination was supposed to be a lot of fun deaths where there's, like, this domino effect. There's this thing coming after you. You can't stop it. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Saw is, like, torture porn.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent. So, like, when Final Destination came out, they're like, oh, we can make so many sequels where we can make the deaths a lot of fun. We can make a whole bunch of Saw sequels where we make the deaths so gruesome, or, like, people are going to watch it because they just want to see how people can die or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's why they keep making... And plus, you just take a premise that's really good, and when you have it in that genre of horror or thriller, you can just make a bunch of sequels. You don't even have to get the same characters. You don't have to have the same actors. Like, they're just going to make sequels, like, just forever if you're going to make a movie like Final Destination. So that's why I'm not surprised that they make sequels, just because of the premise. Someone out there is going to give out their rights. They're going to make a little bit of money, and then someone else is going to make a crappy sequel, and there you go. But to me, the Final Destination series, it's been a while, but I didn't feel like the sequels were bad. So
we're
gonna
watch
find
them.
out.
Yeah, we're gonna watch them, see if they stand up to the test of time. The first one, it made me kind of nostalgic, even though I've never seen this one before. For the '90s, the late '90s, because there's so much 90s in there.
Oh yeah,
It's cute. It was in a way.
I don't remember when it came out. It was
Well,
like
it's
2000,
99.
2001.
Yeah, 99. Oh yeah, you're right. It was before 9/11. It's pre 9/11, and it's got stuff that watching it, I'm thinking, oh my god, it's a horror story on an airplane that involves the airplane exploding. And I know that airplanes explode all the time in movies, but just the way that they frame this, it was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's really nice when you get those the movies that come out in like 1990, the movies that come out in the year 2000, because like they're just transitioning into the next decade. And to me, it's kind of weird. Like you always think of movies like, oh, this is a 70s movie, this is an 80s movie, and it like holds true whenever like a new decade happens. Like film tries to make a transition into the new decade. I find it kind of interesting. Like, haven't you noticed that?
Yeah, and
that's why when you get like the 1990 like Total Recall, I remember Total Recall I always thought was like an 80s movie because it had Arnold and it was like weird.
Yeah.
But it was 1990 and it's like that's when they're making the transition.
The cusp.
Yeah, I really like those years, the 1990 and the 2000. Like just to show like it's like, they're given a reference or like
well, I think that's just natural. I think it does kind of serve as sort of a weird time capsule in the sense that when 1990 or when a decade rolls around, the fads that are popular before continue to overlap. So
yeah, well, I know it's just natural progression, but I do feel like when those numbers hit. The 1980, the 1990, the 2000, 2010. Like, that's when, like, I think that writers feel like, no, we need to bring in a new trend. We need to bring in, like, something new. Just to me.
Possibly.
I know that, like, Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park. They opened up the whole thing about computer generation.
Yeah.
And that was, mid-90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
And this has some CG, too.
And that's why I'm saying, like, the 90s were the time where they brought in CG, but they still had practical effects. And then when 2000 came around, CG was overrun, and the movie started to turn like crap.
Well, yeah, they were pushing the envelope of what could be done, and to varying degrees of success, definitely. I mean, Your Movie Sucks just did a thing, and they mentioned Jumanji, and they showed the clip of the monkeys, and I was like, God damn, Those don't look real at all. And if it were done today, which it will be next year, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to be photorealistic.
Yeah, they will look much more realistic. I saw the same video, and I think it was just like I was more about the time. I saw the monkeys, and I was like, you know what? Honestly, back then, that was the best that they could do.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
I understood they were
the
monkeys. Time. Yeah, you're seeing it, and you're like, wow, that did look bad.
Well, from my perspective of today, post Planet of the Apes and Conquest of the Planet of the Apes and all the new remakes of them.
Yeah, so I mean, when I compare it to today, of course I'm going to get like, oh, it's worse. But I always give it like, oh, well, they were restricted, because of the time it came out.
So what did you like about the original Final Destination? What makes it so good for you? I like the nostalgia of it. I think it's a clever concept, and I've seen the concept before. The whole precognition of a disaster. There have been some recorded instances of people claiming that they have had experienced precognition and averted participating in it. Like somebody did say at one point that there was a plane was going to crash prior to it crashing. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that they had some supernatural ability to perceive that, but...
Oh, I don't believe it. I think if you just say it enough times, chances are it'll be true at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely a student of the school of large number theory. If it's going to happen, it'll happen. But what else do you like about the original?
I think that at the time, I don't know when Dead Zone came out, but...
The original Dead Zone?
Like the show.
Oh.
But
that's an older show. Older movie.
At the time, I believe it was the first time I had been exposed to that concept, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the idea of like this because you think of the Grim Reaper as death, and you can like see him, and you can like reason with him because the stupid like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or whatever it was. And
you experienced Dead Zone before Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yeah.
Oh, Bogus.
No.
Bogus Adventure.
I've never even seen Dead Zone.
Oh.
I knew of its concept on USA or whatever. Okay. But it had been the first time that I was exposed to it, and I loved the concept, and I loved the execution of it. I don't know what it is. I love these survivor movies. Like, you're trying to go with the person, and you're trying to decide, like who's going to live, who's going to die. And I just thought it was really well executed. I thought the deaths were a lot of fun. I thought, it did have that 90s feel to it. I mean, that was a small part in it. I just love the idea. Like, that death was coming to get you. You couldn't stop it. You couldn't see it. It was scary. The deaths were fun. I loved, like, all about it. And, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with the actor either. I know that, like, after this, he dropped off the face of the earth. I think he had, like, drug issues or something. But he was in Idle Hands, and I really loved him in Idle Hands.
I think I remember seeing that movie.
Yeah, that movie and this movie, I was like, man, I really like this. I really like this actor, and that was pretty much it. It was the first. I mean, because it was like we said, it was before Saw. Like, it was just a fun concept, and it was a fun movie, and I just really enjoyed it.
I thought it was also very intellectual. I thought some of the symbolism they use and some of the omens that they piece together to sort of anticipate the disasters coming, the cues they give to the audience, I think is very well written. I'll have to go back and remember specifically what there were, but there were a number of callbacks from earlier in the script later on that occur that felt very natural. I can't remember what the hell they were, though. This is why we need to record immediately afterwards, because I start to forget very quickly.
That's fine. We're just recording because
it's fun.
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to go
on record
again.
It's going platinum.
That
Dutch's record's going platinum.
I just want to say that 28 Days Later is still my favorite horror film, but Final Destination is like, it's definitely top 3.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if I would put it in my top 3 or my top 10.
I really want to watch all the Nightmare on Elm Street. I've only seen a couple of them.
Well, you're in
really
luck.
enjoyed New Nightmare.
They sell that in a pack too.
Was Craven's
New Nightmare?
Yeah,
I think that might actually be one of my favorites too.
It was one of my favorites, and it was one of the couple that I've seen. I think I've seen the second one. I've seen most of the first one. I think
I've seen all the first one.
All the other ones I have never seen. I've never seen the third or fourth.
Third one is the gay one, which is really, really gay, and I'm not meaning that in any sort of derogative sense. I mean it in like entirely gay, and it's gloriously gay. It's something to see. It's something to behold. I can't remember some of the other ones. New Dream Warriors. I think that might be fourth or fifth.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Friday the 13th series. That's another like campy fun one, but
there's 10 plus of those.
It's just it's more believable that death would be like coming after you, like seeing Jason Voorhees just walking around and teleporting and stuff like that. It's a little too unbelievable for me. I know that death, a lot of people they wouldn't believe in that sort of thing, but like the spiritual and superstitious part of your brain, it's more believable than like a zombie giant superhuman thing that walks after you and always kills you.
Yeah, it is definitely a different sort of horror antagonist, and I like it for that reason too. My only downside is that to this one specifically, probably more so than the others, is that in order to make a good horror film, the antagonist has to have some rules. There has to be some sort of chance for the people who are locked in this struggle to try to slip out of it. This movie builds a lot on him trying to piece together what it is that's happening to them, and that's part of the movie. I mean, learning through his perspective how
we call it design.
Yeah, how he's learning
design.
How he's learning death's design and how to circumvent it is the movie. because the premise of the movie is over within the first few before its halfway point. The rest is trying to resolve. I know that a lot of
reviewers, they always say before the first act ends or third act.
The first act. First act, it has the biggest punch. The rest of the movie is trying to come to grips with what it is. And most of the great horror movies have that. I mean, prior to learning that Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers is a supernatural entity, they come to realize that the protagonist attempts to just kill it, which makes sense. For Freddy, they try to grab him and bring him into the real world in order to attack him. That's their sort of idea that if they can pull him out of a dream, that would be the way to defeat him. And there has to be some sort of mechanism in order to say that there has to be some reason to believe that the protagonists have a chance. Because if they have no chance at all, then it's awful.
I'm actually really enjoying that you're trying to make this an intellectual thing. Like, 'cause that's why I'm saying like it's a guilty pleasure, because I know that kind of some of it is kind of dumb. But no, you're bringing it because it's like they take expressions that everyone knows and they try to bring it into this movie. Like, you can't cheat death. Like, that's the whole premise of this movie, is that they're cheating the design. And then like a lot of time when it's tragic, they like religious people, they always say like, oh, it must have been their time. Yeah. And then that's the whole premise of this movie, is that death was saying, this is your time, you need to die, and then
I'm going to do it in the most freakishly grotesque way imaginable.
Yeah.
You're not going to die in your sleep. I'm gonna run a rail through you with a train.
Yeah, and so they're just taking these expressions, and then these protagonists are going in and they're cheating death, they're changing their fate, and like that, you know, that's why
it's good.
Yeah, I like that you're making it more of an intellectual.
Well, the idea of cheating death has been around since fucking Chaucer in the Canterbury Tales. I mean, I just got done watching yesterday. What was it? On Borrowed Time. It's an old film with Barrymore Sr. and it's same premise. He tricks death to get up into a tree, and there's, for supernatural reasons, he can only come down if he's given permission. And so he cheats death by keeping him up in a tree. And it's just, there are ideas like that. And this one is a very clever one, the precognition, which I think is just creepy in and of itself. I liked Mothman Prophecies because of it had that element of you can predict the future to a certain extent, but can you change it? And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, just according to the narrative. But
I have not seen that movies. I know I'm supposed to have seen it. I know.
And you know, that one is just one movie. That didn't even spawn a franchise. Did it?
No. Oh wait.
It did, I think. Oh shit. Oh shit, the world is worse than I thought it was.
But
I know they did that with Butterfly Effect. There's a franchise of that.
Yeah, you know, I honestly enjoyed the first one. And then I heard that they made the sequels, and I haven't watched them, and I really am resistant to watch them. Plus Donnie Darko. I heard that they made sequels to Donnie Darko.
There's so much ideas.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
have
to see this shit.
When you take the horror and thriller genre, they always make sequels. That's why I'm saying, like, the sequels, I usually stay away from them because you know that they're just going to be bad. Because they're just cashing in on that idea.
Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I mean, Halloween 2 is a good example of one that's really, really good.
That one was great because it was like a continuation.
Yeah, and it was like 10 years after the first one was made.
That's pretty cool.
That's fucking insane. It's one of my favorite sequels. And there are a handful of horror movies that do have a sequel that surpasses the original. I'm still hopeful for Final Destination, but I think this one was really, really good, and it set a bar pretty high.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say, was that you were saying that usually in these horror films, the antagonist has like rules they have to live by, or rules they have to follow.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why I loved. I love a good bad guy. Like, if you get a really cool bad guy, a really smart bad guy, that's cool. I'm tired of all these movies that have these general bad guys that always mess up in the end, or they have to follow these rules that you're saying, like, you know, Freddy, you just have to bring him out of your dream, then you can kill him. is that to me, even though death is still abiding by some rules, it's like you can't stop him. Like that's what I love about this bad guy is that it's not like Paranormal Activity or whatever where you just get an exorcism and then it's all over or something. No, death is always coming for you. You never stop it. Even if you cheat it, he's going to come back for you. I love that idea. It's such a cool bad guy that will never stop. It's like Terminator, but you can't kill him. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I don't know. That's why I love cool bad guys and yeah, it goes by certain rules. It has to go in a certain order, but so you can still cheat it. So the protagonist still has a slight chance, but they have to live the rest of their life in fear. And like that's why like it really gets to me because people don't like to be afraid and like these kinds of ideas.
Well, death is pretty anxiety-inducing for everyone. People don't like to be reminded of their impending mortality.
Yeah, so then because it's in the movie realm...
Terror management theory.
Sure. Because I know that it's like it's make-believe or whatever. Yeah. That's what gets me really into the idea. Because I personally, I am very afraid of death, usually. I'm getting over it, but... Yeah. I used to stay up like many nights when I was younger, just fearing death. So,
and I don't believe in a god, so I didn't care.
No, I know. It's one of those like when you're like a religious person.
Yeah.
I'm not very religious, but it's one of those things. I mean, I am religious, but
yeah.
But it's one of those things. Like I try to be open-minded. I try to be objective, and it's always like the thing. Like religious people will say, like, oh, what you're doing is sinning, and it's terrible. Yeah. You're going to go to hell. And then the people that don't believe in it are like, well, I don't believe in it, so f you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like religious people also say that if you don't believe in a god, then you don't have the right set of morals, which I always think that's dumb. Which I mean,
whatever.
I mean, you agree with me in the sense that like, just because you don't believe in a higher being doesn't mean that you don't have good morals.
I don't.
I mean, people that do believe in it can have like terrible morals.
I shoplift.
And people that don't believe in an afterlife can have immaculate morals. They could be the most generous, kindest person on the planet.
And I'm an adulterer.
Exactly. But I don't know where I was going with that.
You were going with Final Destination is an awesome movie and you recommend it.
Yeah.
Top 3 for Dutch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is in my top 3.
So I guess we're gonna get into part 2 or the second one.
Yeah, Final Destination 2. I think I'm trying to remember if they ever changed their names. I remember that the 5th one was called The Final Destination. But I think all of them were just like they were just given a number.
The 4th one is The Final Destination, and this is what they said about movies. Generally, when they reach the 4th one, they change the name for some reason. And I thought this was interesting. Saw didn't change its name in the 4th one. It said Saw 4. But most horror movies do, or any sort of movie, generally speaking, will change its title at least after the 4th one.
No, but I'm trying to remember because there was the Fast and the Furious.
Was it Fast and Furious 4? No.
I don't think so.
And then the last one is Final Destination 5. So they skipped the naming convention for just one movie, and it was the 4th one. That's bizarre. It's probably part of Death's plan. I think they tried to cheat Death with changing the name in the 4th one, but it got him in the 5th one.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it, and I'm looking forward to watching them all.
Yeah, I remember that they have the really hot chick in one of them. She like gets hit by a rock. Spoilers.
Oh, hey, whoa! I haven't seen them at all. It's one thing to spoil it for our listeners. It's another to spoil it for poor old Mingo.
Well, when I put it in Halloween, it gave me the spoiler that the second one is the one on the freeway. So I'm cool with that.
Is the second one the only one that's in widescreen? That sucks. Whatever. So, and they're all rated R.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah. Isn't some of the Paranormal Activities rated PG?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is the first one even rated R? I don't think the first one is. The first Paranormal Activity. All right, one. It's a good idea. The Paranormal Activity. I just think the execution's terrible.
It's been done. It's been done.
Okay, even if it's been done,
worse.
I'm just saying that like. I love survival movies. If you're gonna present me with another survival movies, I won't be like, oh, I've seen this before. No, if I can get into the character,
Activity even a survival thing?
I'm just saying.
It's a jump scare.
No, I'm just saying that I love that type of movie.
Yeah, that genre.
Paranormal Activity, even if it's been done before, I like the idea. I just think the execution is always terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
found footage too.
It's like most of the movie is so boring. Nothing's happening. Like, why would you just want to look at surveillance footage? I mean, you could just do that on your own.
Well, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's is supremely popular. That's looking at surveillance footage all night, right?
Damn it.
It is, isn't it?
Okay, I talked about the execution. Five Nights at Freddy's is amazing execution. All right? Okay. I understand it's a video game. Okay, they're making a movie based on it. I don't know how good. Yeah, Warner Brothers. I don't know how good it's going to be. It's probably going to be terrible. But the game, like, that's why I love it. The game, it like revolutionized like indie games. All right, it took a new spin on things. Okay, so that's why I love Five Nights at Freddy's. It's not because of the graphics or really the story. The story's interesting a little bit to me, but it's just the way the mechanics are, the gameplay mechanics. I mean, they took something new to me. You said it was like Night Trap. Okay,
yeah, Night Trap.
It was like Night Trap. The Night Trap is like so delayed, and it was on like I watched someone do a speed run. Everything was set at a certain time, so you could just like if you get down the time, then you could just beat the whole game without even doing anything.
Yeah. Final Destination 3 is actually PG in Canada, but it's rated R here. So thank you, Canadians.
I am going to be surprised because we didn't see tits in the first one. I don't think there's going to be tits in any of them.
We didn't, did we?
But a horror movie cliche, you have to have them. Yeah. So I'm hoping that when we go through this series, that we see one set. Just one. That's it. I mean, how could you not do it for a horror movie?
2 and 3 say some nudity.
Look at that.
Okay, well, I want to see 2 more than ever now. Let's launch that.
2 more than ever.
2 more than ever. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
We'll be right back.
See you in a minute.